Welcome back to Showcase Pittsburgh. I'm John Klein. Now let's bring in Rick Okraszewski. Did I pronounce that right?
That's good, John.
Did I do it right?
Close. Okraszewski is actually the Polish pronunciation.
Well, okay. I was close enough, right? You're with the KML Carpenters. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You were explaining basics of the ICRA program to me before we got started today, and it's interesting that, to me, this should be front and center with a lot of things that are happening today. Give a rundown of what this is, and this should be bigger than it is, I would think.
Well, it's getting there. ICRA is Infection Control Risk Assessment, and every hospital have what are called IPs, Infection Control Practitioners, and their job is to be sure that secondary infections in hospitals are reduced or eliminated.
Correct.
And that's a huge task for them to handle. And infection control, when it comes to construction, what it has to deal with is what happens whenever you're taking walls apart, and what happens when you're bringing things into the facility. What types of problems could that pose? And so construction infection control helps to it shores up the IP's position, and we take on the responsibility of helping to do our jobs more correctly, so they don't have to worry. That's probably not the right choice of words, but better, so that they don't have to watch us so closely.
So this is something where, in the past, it might have been a hospital. They put up a piece of plastic to keep the dust out. Obviously, that's not the solution, so you are taking it to the next level.
Yes. What happens is the plastic has to be installed correctly, number one, and then you have to figure out what the square foot volume is there, and then you create what's called negative air, and that keeps particulates contained inside that construction site.
I would think this would be advantageous not only to hospitals, but to basically any construction site.
For sure. One of the things we're seeing is school districts are starting to accept this type of construction, so that when you're working in their schools, you're able to keep particulates contained. Government buildings, any building, in your studio, whenever you're remodeling your studio, you don't want dust and particulates blowing all over the place. So it is helping very, very much in the construction industry, so we have cleaner environments.
How does this protect others around, just by not breathing in the different things or coming in contact with different things?
That's a good question. I'm getting older. I've been in this business now 40 years, and we took care of ourselves to a point, but you can only go so far. And whenever you use these types of practices, the air gets cleaned and scrubbed as you're working in that area, and it protects those that are working in there, those that are working outside of there, and any patients or staff or anybody in that region.
You look back on the innocence that generations had before us, where they were just tearing things out and there was dust flying, or you see them working on the Liberty Bridge now, but everything's enclosed, so we're getting wiser to you can't breathe this stuff, and you can't touch a lot of this stuff.
No doubt about it. We're much wiser because what's happened is, whenever there is an outbreak or there's an infection, then there's a process that takes place, and they start to track backwards, what had happened, who touched it, where were they, the types of things that were involved. And they're finding out that a percentage has been attached to construction. And so it's, for us to help in that process, it's a pretty cool thing.
Why is this an important practice for everybody?
Well, I alluded to myself, for 40 years of being in the business and so forth. And I know, I can feel that I just don't have the air that I had before. I can't run and do what I did. And I'm realizing that over the years, for anybody involved, breathing in particulates and doing things like that, doing the right thing is a good thing for everybody. We all care about the people we work with and are around, and there's no reason these practices can't be put into place and do a better job.
Are you seeing this in the majority of hospital construction or reconstruction, or just is it becoming more widespread, as you said, in schools and in any building?
Great point. Hospitals are primarily the first order of business. Hospitals have adopted this type of construction, but what we're seeing is, because people talk, and the people that see, they say, hey, we want to hear a little bit more about that. So we've recently had a school district in West Virginia put this into their documents, that they'd like to see this type of work environment happening during construction.
Thanks, Rick. If you'd like to know more about KML Carpenters, log on to kmlcarpenters.org.